Hello, everyone. I am Stacey with NutritionJobs, and I am delighted to bring to you a really, really fascinating topic. But it's a topic that's not only super fascinating to me, apparently it is fascinating to all of you guys. So I am really, really excited that we're all here together in mass to have this conversation about corporate wellness and how to become a corporate wellness dietitian. The corporate wellness word sort of goes by a few different other terms like worksite wellness or employee wellness, sort of the same idea. We're just going to call it whatever Christie Hunter, our amazing guest, is going to want to call it. So you know that we're all sort of talking about the same thing. So I want to be able to introduce to you one of my favorite dietitians, Christie Hunter. She has been on our LinkedIn Lives in the past. She's talked about how to show up for a private practice job interview if you want to go work in private practice. If you haven't watched that, oh my gosh, that is chock full of tons of juicy tidbits on how you can be successful and make more money as a dietitian. But today I have Christie Hunter on, and she's going to talk about how she got her start in corporate wellness. And I'll just say again that Christie Hunter is one of my favorite dietitians because I love the way that she thinks. She sort of thinks from 500 feet ahead of her, or from the back end. Like, what does the client want? What does the end provider want? And how can I provide those services? So she's brilliant, and she approaches this topic with amazing brilliance. So I gave you a ton of runway there. Christie Hunter from Nutrition Practice Network. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Stacey, so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Can you start us off by giving us a little bit of background about maybe like how you got started into corporate wellness or how you got started as a dietitian? I know you've got a really great story there that people would love to hear.
Yes. So this is a really good story because I think sometimes when you're in school, you kind of get asked, what do you want to do? And you just don't know. So I did my master's in work with lactation. And so I thought, of course, like that's a great area. Sure, I'll do that. So as most dietitians do, I got my first job in clinical nutrition. So I worked in a hospital with 26 other dietitians, and my first area was cardiology. So I was in cardiology. And in the 6-month time span of me being a clinical dietitian, okay, I went from cardiology to trauma to NICU. Okay. So in this 6-month time frame, I learned a lot and kind of was like, oh yeah, okay, that's what I want to do. Yes, that's what I want to do. Okay, yes, that's what I want to do. And so then I realized that a job opportunity came available in the employee wellness division of the medical center that I was working in. And so I really said, that kind of sounds interesting, because what I learned that I liked was talking about food. And I learned that in like trauma and in the NICU, you don't talk about food. And so I missed that part of it. And so that's what led me to switch roles, like I said, in 6 months of being employed to employee wellness. And I kept that job at the medical center for 14 years. And in that time span of being in the employee wellness division, it gave me exposure to all the people at my medical center that were making decisions about employee health. So we're talking about the higher ups, the medical center executives. We're talking about HR divisions. We're talking about benefits and compensation. We're talking about the insurance provider that provided us insurance. I got exposure to working with people in the fitness industry. And so I kind of learned like what was the foundation of employee wellness, what people were looking for, and also kind of like, what are the decision factors when people are looking at what they're going to spend on all of this? So then when I decided to launch my private practice, again, never in a million years thinking it would focus on employee wellness, but I was just doing my private practice as a side gig. And then I quickly realized, okay, so I got this client in the door, right? And this client has insurance that covers my services. And so guess what? If she works at this company and they provide insurance for her, they provide insurance for all the other employees in that work for that company. So I should go and market to that employer. And I feel confident knowing what they're looking for, so I can go and market my services. And so because I did that and became really good at it, then my private practice became kind of specialized in corporate wellness. So
That's
I
genius.
feel like my
Yeah.
journey like is very like kind of like this to get there, but I just think it's really important for young dietitians to not feel like they have to say, I'm going to be a private practice and I'm going to specialize in this because this is what my background is in. You don't
I think,
know.
yeah, I think you're right. Like that there's so many different opportunities that can bring you to a specific niche that you want to be able to focus in on. But I think that's brilliant. But I think what I think that is really fascinating to me, and maybe we can step back a little bit and toss out some definitions, because when we say the clients, that the word client can mean a lot of different things. So I think when you say employees as well, so I'm, thinking about like, who is the patient, who's the client, who are you trying to work with directly, like, so the employee of the hospital. So it can be a physical therapist, it could be somebody
Yes.
in HR, actually, it could be in the dietetics department, it could be somebody in
Housekeeping.
radiation, yeah, housekeeping. Like those are now the clients, which is so funny because you don't think about that way. You think about it, people, sort of outpatient, you think
Right.
about it a different way. So let me step back again and have you explained. So you got approached by your own HR department at the hospital you were working at in their benefits department. Is that right?
Well, when I was working in my job at the hospital and like kind of, here's the thing, right? Wellness departments are not really revenue producing. So when if a
Oh,
hospital
right.
is looking at making cuts, they're going to look at non-revenue producing departments, right?
Yeah.
So we were always on the edge of our seats, like, oh, are we going to make the cut? Are we going to make the cut? And so part of our justification was talking to HR and to say, we are a benefit and we are saving you money, even though you don't see it right now. We are saving you money. So I was in these meetings early on in my career, kind of talking to benefits and kind of hearing them talk about the insurance plan and the medical expenses and all of that. So I kind of learned like what are the key aspects that they're looking at. They're not looking at, okay, Stacey is costing us this much money and they're drilling down to that much data, but they're looking at their group as a whole and they're saying, hey, our population as a whole, we're spending a lot of money on diabetes medicines. What can we do to reduce that cost? And then they say, oh, wait a minute, we have a wellness department. Oh, you know what? We have a dietitian who it works in the wellness department and she probably could help us. And so that's how I got brought to the table for that.
I
And so
love that.
then with those experiences, that led me then when I started to do my own private practice to have the knowledge base so that when I was speaking to my clients, right, which now in a private practice, my clients, if I'm kind of looking at a corporate wellness plan, are employer groups. So I'm
Exactly.
looking
Yes.
at those groups, and then I'm able to talk to them specifically to say, hey, I know that you're looking at reducing cost for diabetes medicines. Let me tell you how we can impact that bottom dollar. And then, right, then get them on, those are my clients, but then the individual employees of that employer group then become my individual clients in my
Ah.
practice.
See, that's Chrissy, that is just so genius. And I don't think a lot of us got a lot of training or exposure to being a corporate wellness dietitian, because it actually takes a kind of a different skill set, right? Like it takes the ability to understand how to explain the return on the investment that you can provide for this company. And then they can then get, you employees, the actual people that you're going to be working with directly. Um, so what I know, I think the world of you. What kind of skill set do you recommend people either develop or sort of embrace the ones that they already have to make you successful in running a corporate wellness dietitian private practice?
It is interesting, right? Because I am outgoing. I have no problem talking to people. And I realize that not everybody feels like that, right? So if you give me the choice, of going out and talking to people and kind of promoting my business, I will choose that any day of the week over sitting back and writing a blog post. I cannot stand writing. So that is just not my thing. So I feel like what makes you successful is practice. Again,
Mm.
this doesn't come naturally to us. Like you said, we don't get training in this. And I'm sure if you are going to take that same approach and market yourself to physicians, you feel like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. So the more you practice it, the better you become. And so I am just my personality type. I'm an Enneagram 2. I'm one of those people that just gets out there. So I have no problem at all with getting out in front of people, speaking to people. I have no problem at all. Like if I get turned down on the first one, calling back a few months later and marketing myself again and trying a different approach or trying to get to somebody different. So I think you have to be one of those people that feels comfortable in what you're promoting or what you're selling. And again, what's so amazing about corporate wellness and what my approach is, and everybody looks at corporate wellness different, right? So you could interview somebody next week, Stacey, it's going to have a totally different approach. But the way I figured out this niche was because these employer groups are already paying top dollar for these insurance plans that they are providing for their employees, right? These insurance plans cover our services. So it is a win-win. I'm not cold calling people and asking people to invest millions of dollars into this wellness plan. All I'm doing is calling people and saying, hey, this is a benefit that's provided to you. Would you consider marketing this as to your employees since they're already paying for this? And this is how it can help you. And so what I'm trying to do is trying to get employer groups to use the benefits that they are already paying for. Then they receive the benefit of it because they get healthier employees. But again, they look like a really good employer because they're offering these great services and marketing these services that they don't have to pay for. So it's not a cost to them. So if you can get a HR person to understand that and to really like be like, yes, you know what, my insurance broker has told me about this. I'm so glad you called. Yes, I am looking for somebody to partner with. It really is a win-win for everybody.
Oh, this is so good, Christy. Like all these little nuggets. So sort of to summarize what the skill set could be in a dietitian, sort of forward facing, okay with giving presentations or being able to talk to people either on the phone or in person or in some other way, but sort of a little more forward facing that comes with practice. It sounds like also a little bit of resilience, like when you get turned down once, you just persevere. It's business. This is business. It's nothing personal. Persevere, like being able to sort of move forward. It sounds like also a little bit of marketing, maybe not, I was going to say marketing savvy, but maybe just some marketing tools or scripts to have because you are marketing your services. How is it that you're able to get, I guess then my question is like, how are you able to get more clients? And you can answer that any way you want. So clients could be the employees, it could be the HR department, it could be the insurance company. Like how is it that what's your system for getting more clients on board?
Right. So here's the thing, right? I am going to get more clients. That means more appointments booked for my private practice if I reach out to more employer groups. So that's my goal, right? Is to get more employer groups engaged. If I get that, then to me, it's a captive audience because those are the same people that have all the same benefits that I know are going to be covered. So I'm always looking for ways to get in front of new employer groups, particularly ones that either value wellness, have a robust wellness program already, or you can tell that they, have it as part of the culture. And the way you find that out is in your community. So I just got back from a service organization luncheon. I'm on the East Coast. So I just got back from a holiday luncheon with a civic organization. And again, I am sitting there beside two groups of people that I am talking to about who do you work for? Oh, okay. Did you know? And they're saying, what do you do for a living? I tell them what I do for a living. And then they say, oh, that's really cool. And then I say, what insurance do you have?
I
And then,
love this.
so it's like that kind of conversation that I'm always having. Or if I am at, I have a teenage daughter. So for example, if I'm in a school event and, I'm talking to another parent and the parent says, oh, I gotta get up because I'm on the step challenge at work, I'm going to find out, oh, who do you work for? Because they already do a step challenge, right? So they are showing that they have wellness initiatives. So then I'm finding out who is their employer. And again, I'm not like badgering them or like, like a news investigator. It's just in casual conversation.
I
And
love this. Yeah.
I'm not going to use that person's name, but I am going to call that employer group later and say, hey, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Christie. This is what I do. Did you know that our services are covered by your insurance carrier? And I've heard from some of your employees that you guys have some really awesome things going on over there. You value wellness, and this is what you do. So if there's anything that I can do to complement that, we would love to. And here's my suggestion of things that we could do to complement your services. And so I give them like, this is what we offer. So again, I'm kind of patting that employee wellness person, staff person on the back by saying your employees are talking about what you're doing, what you're offering. But then it's also kind of like getting my name out there. And again, it may not happen on the first try, but I'm going to reach back out. Another example that would be good is, let's say that you have somebody who says, you know what, I work at a place and they provide us with healthy meals, for lunches. They really try to do, a healthy meal during the holidays. So you're like, okay, that company values wellness. They want to do those kinds of things. Let me reach out to that person's employer group and find out and get my name in front of them and say, your people are talking and this is what they're saying. And these are some great things that y'all are doing. And again, it could just be a kudos to you with a name drop of your business. It doesn't have to always be a sales pitch, right? But just putting your name out there.
That is so genius, Christy. Thank you for all these insider tips. So, how would one, sort of taking it one step further, and maybe you can explain this more in some of the work that you do that I'll share with everybody as well. But how do you find the phone number for the employer group person contact?
So here's the nice thing, right? A lot of employer groups are going to have that information on their website in one way, shape, or form, because a lot of them are trying to get you to fill out an application. So if you're going there to find out like how to work there, right? They're going to have like usually some sub segment of their HR information on there. So then you can use that to find out who's in charge of benefits. Okay, most of the times it is somebody in the HR segment. So do you have somebody in benefits? Do you have somebody with wellness? And then kind of just keep trying to get to the right person. A lot of times too, a lot of my, for example, I'm in North Carolina. We have a really good state health plan here that covers nutrition. And so state health plan people, right, are all public facing people most of the time. So you got to think about your teachers. You got to think about, people in public service. And so all of that, like the cities, all of that information is available on websites, very easy for you to find. So you're like, okay, let me go in here and find human resources. Okay, they have a benefits thing. Oh, okay. And then listed underneath there, you can find out, does it say benefits coordinator? Does it say wellness person, whatever. And I'm going to email them and I'm going to call them and I'm going to send them a little personal note. So I never just try one avenue. Because again, people say, well, I emailed them and they never responded. Okay, well, yeah. Did you try to call? Did you try a note? Did you try to send something? You have to do multiple ways. You can't just do one way and say, I tried everything, because you didn't. You didn't try everything.
Christy, you're so resourceful. You're so good. You're like, everyone's head is like turning right now. What kind of a system do you use to organize all of your outreach efforts? Do you just use like a spreadsheet or
Yes.
post-it notes? Spreadsheet. Okay.
Every time I feel like every time my spreadsheet has gotten more and more detailed. And so we have like a list of who do we want to reach out to? And then we have a list of, okay, we got a referral from, for example, one of the local universities, because again, that's a public sector. So it was like, for us, we got a referral from a local university. Okay, great. So then we started finding out, okay, well, they have wellness. And so then we reach out to that person. And so then I just keep a spreadsheet of, okay, we called, we emailed, we sent a note, we followed up, and I always put the name of the person, so again, so I'm adding that personal note of being like, okay, this is who we spoke to. And I just want to tell you how much time this takes. Like, because I have a client that I just recently got on board this fall that I have been, what I would say, massaging, right, for 3 years.
Oh, good for you.
3 years.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
So it takes a while. Yeah.
It takes a while. They're not going to be an immediate yes,
That's
right?
good for people to know, I think, so that you don't get discouraged. It goes back to the idea of perseverance, resilience, not resistance, resilience, and sort of just moving forward and knowing that you're doing the hard work, the underlying hard work to build this really strong business. You're doing it now full time. And did you do it part time or full time all along?
So when I started, I was just part-time myself. I was just doing it 2 days a week. Then I brought somebody else on before I quit my hospital, employee wellness job. And so I brought somebody else on before I quit full-time, and brought myself on as full-time. Then I was doing full-time and I was it. So I was answering the phones, billing the insurance, doing the outreach, seeing the clients, all of it. And so then over time, I got to where I could add to my staff, bring more dietitians on board, but then also relinquish some of those duties. And I laugh because my mom was one of my first employees, and she was like helping me with scheduling and returning phone calls and all of that. Now I have a practice with 5 dietitians and a full-time office manager, and I am no longer seeing clients. I am literally like out marketing the business,
Doing the
getting the
marketing
business
and
in
sales.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing
Yeah.
all of that
That's
because it just needed it.
You said something I think that maybe people may not have caught, but you said invoicing the client, invoicing. So where does the actual money come from?
So, okay, let's go. I'm going to give you 2 examples. Okay. And this is why I think it's good, because I want to give you 2 real life examples. So this university that I told you that I've been massaging for 3 years that I finally got on, right? So the way that works is they market my services. The employees, right, will then sign up to do individual consults with somebody on my team or attend one of our group classes. So when they do that, then everything is filed with insurance. And so the way that we get paid is through the insurance provider. So we get paid by Cigna, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Nothing is billed to that employer at all. Okay.
Or the employee.
Or the employee. There's no cost to the employee.
Free to the employee. I think that is a huge, huge thing that can't be overlooked in this conversation. It is free to the employee.
And when we say that, right, we go back and we say to them, just wanted to let you know, we are a credentialed provider with Cigna, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, whatever. That gives you clout, right?
Exactly,
because that person you're talking to in benefits may not understand exactly what a dietitian does, right? But they understand that who their insurance carrier is, and you say credentialed provider, then they're like, oh, okay, yeah. So
I love that distinction with that wording.
yes, so that gives you some clout. So you're not just cold calling and being like, hey, I'm a dietitian. No. You're saying I am a credentialed provider with your insurance plan, and that, this is what I offer. So in that scenario, I'm getting paid by the insurance company, right? For the employee's services, employee pays nothing, no copay, no nothing, right? And they get a choice to do virtual appointments with us, or they can come to our office.
Nice.
The other scenario is we have another employer situation where they have gotten this grant and all of this money for their employee wellness fund. Their insurance provider doesn't have as great coverage for nutrition benefits. So they fund everything that we do through their grant. And so we just invoice them at the end of the month, and then they will pay us directly. Now, is interesting in this scenario, and this is kind of a good scenario too, is that this is a teacher group. So this is a school, and they thought, okay, well, these are people that are busy, and they won't have time to see us during do something during the week. Let's give them recorded classes. So we teach a class, we record it, and then it's available to them anytime they want to watch it. Well, guess what? The employees weren't watching it. I think they're teachers, right? Who wants to think about work when you leave? So they weren't doing that. So now we're pivoting, and we said, okay, we tried that for 3 months. That didn't work. So what we're going to do now is go back to in-person classes and go on site and teach the teachers, right, how to better balance their nutrition, how they can do this on the run, even when they only have 20 minutes and they have no, bathroom breaks and all of that. So how can we improve their nutrition in the limited amount of time. So we come up with different classes and we're pivoting. So all of that to say that when you come up with a good plan and it doesn't work, you're evaluating these metrics and you're giving that feedback to your wellness contact and saying, hey, I just want you to know we tried this and that wasn't working. Let's pivot. And we're not giving them metrics, right? We're not saying your people are losing this amount of weight or they're doing this or that. What I like to gauge is engagement. And so the metric that I'm going to use when I'm reaching back out, again, if I've worked for 3 years to get this client, you better bet that I'm going to tell them at the end of the month how great things are going. So I'm going to say, hey, at the end of the month, I just want you to know we had this many employees click on our website. We had this many people submit a contact form. We had this many people book an appointment. And then this many people were actually seen. So they know like, oh, wow, that really was successful. And we always give feedback to say what you did really worked because that's going to make them want to do it again.
Right. Oh, this is so good, Christie. You talked about services. You talked about doing group counseling. You talked about doing one-on-one counseling or coaching. What are all the services that you recommend you can offer as a corporate wellness dietitian? And then we also got a question about and for those different services, what would the appropriate pricing be, or how do you structure your pricing, I should say?
Right. Okay. So good questions. All right, let's see if we can remember them all. So services that we offer. So we offer, like, again, I'm going back to, since most of my clients, right, are corporate groups that have the insurance plan. So I have to look at what insurance is going to pay for.
Okay.
So insurance is going to pay for face-to-face interaction. They're not going to pay if I do a cooking demonstration and record it and somebody watches it. They're not going to pay for that. So insurance is going to pay for face-to-face education. So that is going to be whether we do one-on-one consults with their employees, right? So employees would sign up to meet with me individually. And again, we provide all the marketing materials that the HR people would need. So it says, why would you want to meet with the dietitian? And then it lists all the reasons why they would want to meet with the dietitian. And then to schedule your appointment, click here. And it takes them directly to where they would want to go and, schedule their appointment. So we do individual appointments, and then we offer group classes. Both of those are able to be billed with insurance. So again, nothing else is being a cost to the employer group. If we have a different group that wants to pay for services that are not, we're not going to deal with insurance. So those could be things like a cooking demonstration, which, let me just put this plug in here. This is something we don't think about. You have to have liability insurance to cover that, because the last thing that you want to do is to go and serve food to a group of people and get them sick, whether it's foodborne illness, whether that is an allergy exposure, something like that. So to me, that liability insurance is too expensive for the amount of requests that we get for that. We can do a cooking demonstration where we show you what we do, but we're not serving the samples, right?
Yeah.
We can also record it as part of a presentation and say, this is how we do it at home. And we are in our actual kitchen and then doing it. But if you're going to serve it, you need to have liability insurance to do that.
Oh, that's genius. Thank you.
You can do cooking demonstrations. You can do health fairs. You can be the person that runs a challenge. So for example, a possible potential challenge you could run this time of year for an employer group is a maintain, don't gain kind of program where you're doing it through the holidays and employees are participating in that kind of program. You could also do, group classes. You could do running a series of programs. So whether that's another employer group that we work with, we do a program where it's a nutrition behavior component and exercise component, and we provide the nutrition services for that as well.
Okay. That's all fantastic. My gosh, this is so exciting. And I think it's such a great opportunity. I love what you've done. Obviously you have years of knowledge that you've accumulated. How can people work with you or to learn more or be a part of this or get some mentoring from you? Like, what are some resources that you have that you can share with other people wanting to do this?
I'm going to share that too. But also I realized I didn't answer the question about the rates.
Oh, the rate. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah, because this will tie into that, right? So, for example, if you're going to go and offer a cooking demonstration to a group that is going to pay for your services, I want you to think about how much time that's going to cost you, because it's a lot of work. I guarantee you, you're going to have to do this, do the food samples, you're going to have to do the prep, you're going to have to bring in all this stuff. It's a lot of work. But if you're just going to go offer a one-time class on healthy holidays, for example, I want you to think about your time for that. Now, you and I both might be a little egotistical and say, my time is worth, all this money. I'm going to tell you this though, employer groups may not be willing to pay that out of pocket for you because there's a health coach right down the road that is going to charge less, that is going to be a competition for you. So that's why I benefit by charging insurance, because that is currently something that health coaches cannot do. So by me selling that product to say, let me come and teach a class to your group on, healthy holidays, and it's something that's covered by insurance, then it's a win-win. If I'm going to charge for that and not bill insurance, then I'm always going to kind of price myself according to what the kind of market is in that area. So in my area, I'm not going to get $500 for a 1-hour class. I'm just not. There's a health coach down the road that's going to charge $150 for that. So I'm not going to be able to charge that. I value myself more than what that health coach is. So I'm going to charge more than 150, less than 500. Our typical kind of rate for a group class is 275. And we found that price point to be really good, and people don't turn away from it so much. Now that's for the entire group. So it doesn't matter if there's 2 people or 200 people, that's just the flat rate for that. So yes, I have a lot of experience and expertise. I'm always happy to share. This is the thing that I love about this field. I have gotten to where I am because of the help of other dietitians.
Aw, that's
Other
good.
people have helped me along the way, and I always want to give back to our profession. So what I am is also a business owner with Nutrition Practice Network, where we provide a document library and one-on-one business coaching for other people that are in this, trying to start a group practice, trying to be in private practice. And we have forms and all of the things. So you don't have to have like, okay, let's say I want to go and do this class, but what do I need to have in writing? You need to have a speaker's agreement and a contract. And with Nutrition Practice Network, we have the library that has that contract already for you. So you don't have to think about it. So then
Good.
available to you. And then you can do one-on-one business coaching with me so that I can help you kind of figure out what you should charge and the best path for you, depending on where you are and what your insurance coverage is.
That's fantastic, Christy. I'll put that information in the show notes so that you have access to that and links to that. One final question for you, Christy, unless you want to share anything else. My push is always trying to help dietitians figure out how to make more money, whether it's a salary or your compensation package, or just how you can be a dietitian and happy with your compensation. So what are your thoughts on that? And how do you think that dietitians can make more money?
Right? I really wish it was as easy as me saying, I feel like my time is worth $300 an hour and I'm going to charge $300 an hour. But as I've kind of told you, let's think about like how this progression is, right? So my rates are going to be dictated by insurance rates, right? Because 95% of my business is billed through insurance. So I don't get to tell Blue Cross and Blue Shield that I value myself at $300 an hour, because guess what? I have a contract and they say, no, this is what we're going to pay you, right? So let's just say, for easy math, let's say they're going to pay me $100 an hour. Okay. So Blue Cross and Blue Shield is going to pay me $100 for that consult. I can't charge the employee $200 difference, right? I can't charge that employer group the $200 a difference. That is my contracted rate. That contracted rate with insurance, they set it, and it's for all the dietitians in my area, right? So that's my contracted rate. What they base that contracted rate off of is Medicare. So they're looking at and saying, okay, well, what's the kind of national standard? If you want to know the Medicare rate, that is available online for you to look at. You Google Medicare reimbursement rate, you type in the code, and it tells you in your area what that reimbursement rate is. So again, going back to what you should set as your hourly rate, that's kind of a good generic way to kind of see what that rate is. So That's what the private insurance groups are going to base it off of, is Medicare. Medicare is a government funded agency, right? So they are basing it off of the legal parts, right? So the way that we get our rates to increase is to get that Medicare rate to go up.
Yep.
And the way that we get that Medicare rate to go up is to find the people that are influencing those decisions. So that's our state level, that's our national level, that's the academy. Those are the people that are influencing that rate. So for example, the things that I am doing at my level, right? I can sit here and complain about it all day long, but that's not going to do anything. So what I'm doing is at my state level, I'm working with the insurance reimbursement rep for the North Carolina Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. I am working with her, and then she is having a seat at the table with all of the major insurance providers that North Carolina has and saying, hey, dietitians should be paid more, and this is why, and then we need this many services provided. Don't just limit us to 3 or 6 visits. We need more coverage. So those are the ways that you get involved. Also, when you see the academy putting out things like, we need your support, please help us lobby for better Medicare, coverage and rates, you do it because it does have it.
You sign the forms, you petition your Congress people, your senators. Yeah, exactly.
That's how you're going to make a change, because when that value goes up, the private insurance sectors are going to go up. When the private insurance sectors go up, guess what? You can also charge more money for your services, right? Mm. But here's the fact is, if you are a, client that has insurance, if you are a patient that has insurance coverage for nutrition stuff in your area, and they say, okay, here's the people that you can go see that have, that accept our insurance, or here's the people that are not covered, right? If you just do a Google search, that are going to pay out of pocket for. With an economy like it is now, people are going to choose the things that are covered by their insurance.
Right, so exactly.
My best advice to you is get credentialed with insurance companies, right? Get credentialed and then put yourself out there as a marketing tool, because I really don't think that my business would be where it was if I was depending on self-pay or private pay. Mm-hmm. It just wouldn't. Yeah. Because there's not that many people that would pay for those services when their insurance is covering it and they can go down the street.
Yeah. Christie, you're a wealth of information. I will applaud the way that I love the way that you think and you approach and tackle issues. Business, you're truly a gift to our profession. I feel like we had 2 talks in one. We talked about corporate wellness, and then we talked about how to increase our pay as dietitians. So I am so thankful. I know all of our participants were getting lots of hands up and lots of waves, and people are very, very happy. And just again, thank you so much for being here with all of us today on behalf of our whole community at Nutrition Jobs. Thank you so much, Christie Hunter. And I will put all of your contact stuff again in the show notes so that people can connect with you and find you.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, and take care, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.